Let's get this party started.
Coverage tight, spotlight on tomorrow. Who you with? Trust, you'll be delighted that you followed. At Phirst Contention, the invention. We debate sports, of course we should mention. What's that? We cover games, we don't play suspensions. We 100, so if your star's missing, we let you know your squad surely gone fishing. We never fish though, no, not our motto. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention.
I said hola, senors and senoritas. Welcome to another episode of Phirst Contention. I'm your boy, Marvin S. Banks, here on the new set here at Phirst Contention, here with T.Y. Sosina.
Salutations, folks. Great show in the works. More importantly, we've got a surprise later on, and we'll reveal that a little bit on in the show. But first, let's kick it over to Steve over in Shed's Block. What's going on, sir?
Yes, thank you, fellas. Thanks for kicking it over. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Strive higher every day. Let's have a good show. We have a surprise for you, and as you can see, we're wearing black and gold in commemorance of my brother Stuart Scott. We'll talk about that later. Let's go, baby.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, let's get back into the professional football, the National Football League. Divisional round is here. Game number one. Ravens travel up to Foxborough to face the number one overall seed in the AFC, the New England Patriots.
I know the Pats was like, man, please come on, Pittsburgh. Please come on, Pittsburgh. Come out with a victory, please. But it didn't happen. The Ravens actually came back and won. And they came back and won behind the arm of Joe Flacco. Ty, I don't know how you feel about this, man, but if you had a chance, would you start a franchise with Joe Flacco as your QB?
I couldn't. I think it takes a lot for Flacco to get into the playoffs. I think it's that team that gets him there. But, I mean, I picked against him last week. But when he gets to the playoffs, I mean, I forgot. These games will make you forget how money he is, how clutch he is. I mean, they didn't have a running game, but he rose to the occasion like he did a few seasons ago before he got that huge contract.
You know what? They pose a lot of problems to the Patriots. And one thing that they have been able to do in the past when they went up to Foxborough is they've been able to stop the run, they've been able to run the football, and they've been able to be real physical with Tom Brady. All recipes that the New England Patriots really, really, really don't like. And plus, you're playing behind someone that's, man, he's on like a Joe Montana level right now. He's been hot. Joe Flacco's been very hot. I'm talking about he has 21 touchdowns to 2 picks over his last 4 years when he has entered the playoffs. I'm talking about he has 11 touchdowns to 0 interceptions since his Super Bowl run a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So very pedestrian in the regular season, but when the lights get the brightest, Joe Cool is Joe Cool.
I believe they said first quarterback to win, I believe it was 5 playoffs games in his first 5 years. I mean, that speaks for itself. Granted, that team was there, but I mean, as a rookie, you got to get it done. And he wasn't the reason they lost those games. He flipped on that switch. But let's shift to our predictions. Me personally, I know I did it last week. And I know we talk about how unflappable Flacco is in the playoffs, but I got to pick Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Okay.
Okay, so their last 3 trips up there, you know, the Ravens, they did some good things. The Patriots probably should have went 3-0. Lost that game where the Patriots are going for the undefeated season there. I mean, this is a different Patriots team. I think it's a better defense. It's also against the run, very great against the pass, which allows them to put more people up in the box. We saw Forsett not really able to get it going last week. Mm-hmm. And Tom Brady, while he doesn't have the best receivers, he'll make it work as long as he has Gronk in the middle, okay? He was missing Gronk for a lot of those games, and I think that's what put him over. Better defense, Brady 100% healthy. Needs some help on the offensive line, but I'm going to go with the Pats.
I wanted so bad to say that this was my upset special, but I could not do it. I could not go against Tom Brady and the Pats, and one reason being is because I think Darrelle Revis in that secondary, the ability to play one-on-one on the outside and to stack the box. So they're not able to use Justin Forsett. You have to put everything on Joe Flacco, make him be one-dimensional, make him beat you. I think the Pats come out with a close victory, 24-23. Something real close, last-second field goal, maybe by Tom Brady, but something along those lines, though.
Another thing we'll mention that the Ravens are missing this time. No Ray Lewis.
No Ray Lewis.
No Ed Reed.
No Ed Reed.
We know how great of a coach Belichick is. Belichick may be one of Ed Reed's biggest groupies.
Yeah, he might be. He might be. But let's go from the East Coast to the West Coast, where the defending champs open up their Super Bowl run against Superman Cam and the Carolina Panthers. Ty, X Factors, who you got winning this game?
Let's start with the X Factors. Obviously, we talked about Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
Russell Wilson. The receivers aren't there, but at least 1 or 2 times a game, Russell Wilson will make a play and make it, oh my God, wow. And that defense, if we shift to the Panthers, their defense has picked it up lately. Cam, not as good with the pass, but I mean, he does what he can to make it work. Those would be my X factors as far as that goes.
You know what? The Carolina defense has been playing real good football as of late. And the last couple of games that they played against Seattle, it's been very tight. It's been very a close game. This might be like an NC-17 type game that you might not want to have kids watch this game because hitting is not optional in this game. There's going to be bloodshed. There's going to be hitting that's going on. I think
maybe a few flags.
A lot of flags. I think Carolina's front seven is a little bit better. When you have Starla Tudele up there up front, when you have Charles Johnson up there up front, Kewan Shorts, and then you have Tommy Davis and Luke Kuechly back there. I think their defense is, I think their front seven is a little bit better, but I mean, Legion of Boom speaks for itself. Legion of Boom, LOB speaks for themselves. So
LOB, folks.
Exactly. So Ty, who do you have winning this matchup though?
We talked about the defenses. LOB gets all the credit.
Exactly.
I believe it's Thurman Thomas or Walter Thurman. Walton Thurman, that second cornerback, he has elevated his play to be
Mr. Maxwell.
To be official. He's an official member of LOB now. Bobby Wagner back in the middle. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson gets it done. If you can barely beat the Cardinals with Ryan Lilly at quarterback, what are you going to do when you have to go up to Seattle and face first name Russell, last name Wilson?
You know what? Like I said, it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be one of those tight, close games. If Carolina can score a little bit more in the red zone, they can make this a little bit more interesting. But I am also going with Seattle too as well. I'm going to go with the score 16-13. A lot of field goal work that's getting between Stephen Hotchkiss and Graham Gano. They're going to get their foot in this game, per se. But
a lot of footwork.
A lot of it.
No Chicago.
Something like that. But let's go just a little bit south, where the teacher and the pupil meets again. I'm talking about Andrew Luck visits Tom Brady in another playoff matchup. Ty, X Factors, position battles. Who do you think is going to win this matchup?
I mean, your only X factors for the Colts really is just Andrew Luck. He's the one thing that keeps that team going. When we go to the other side of the ball, let's see, you have Manning. C.J. Anderson's looking good. Akeem Talib makes some plays when he's playing. They've got a bunch of players on that defense. If they can get up, you've got Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware on the edge. Also, this is a pretty good run defense in Denver. So, those are your X factors, I believe.
I have to agree. I think the main X factor is C.J. Anderson. Now, if something's wrong with Peyton, which we don't know if Peyton is healthy, but if something's wrong with Peyton, the ability to run the football with C.J. Anderson is going to be paramount because I think you can run on this Indianapolis Colts team. I think the theme throughout this run, I think, is the ability to run the football and the ability to stop the run. Whichever teams can do that, I think will move on to that championship round before the Super Bowl. So I think C.J. Anderson is going to be the person I look out for. So with that being said, Ty, do the Colts have a chance? Do you think they can go into Denver and get a W?
You elaborate on C.J. Anderson. Let's go to Indy's running back, Boom Herron. Looked good.
Boom.
Needs help holding on to the ball. Shout out Trent Richardson. But it's on the Broncos. You can't lose this game. That Indy defense should be frustrated because if they pack the box, Manny's going to throw it. If they back up, he can hand it over. So, he'll be playing cat and mouse. I've got the Broncos in this game.
You know what? I think this is probably my easiest matchup of the week. I have I have Denver winning big. I picked Indy to lose to Andy Dalton. I didn't know. Andy Dalton, this is your time. Andy Dalton will get his first playoff win on Sunday. I know A.J. Green or Jermaine Gresham was not playing.
Doesn't matter.
Was not playing that game. And theoretically, the Bengals were in this game. They were in this game into the second half, and that's where Indy kind of put it on them. But
Indy still hasn't thrown a touchdown in the playoffs. Just saying.
You mean Dalton. But I can't go against the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with Denver at home to win this matchup. I think it's going to be fairly easy. I think they're going to go out there and just go do their thing. But I know one person that wants to talk about NFL playoff football. That's my man over there, Steve Davis in Shed's block. Shed, what's going on over there in your block?
Yes, all right, let's talk about NFL playoffs. It was a good matchup last weekend, seeing the Colts get past the Bengals, the Ravens. They got past my Steelers, but hey, we didn't have Le'Veon Bell. And then we got Seattle, they beat Arizona, and we had the Cowboys beat the Lions. Wow, I was surprised in that game. I thought the Cowboys were going to lose. But for this weekend's matchups, we got the Ravens going against the Patriots. The Ravens had their number a couple years ago, but in my eyes, in my guesstimation, I don't think they're going to go up to New England and beat them. It's going to be really, really cold. You got Tom Brady out there. He's going to be playing pretty well. The defense is playing really well. I think they're going to get past the Ravens in that matchup for that divisional round. And then you think about the other AFC matchup, Indianapolis versus Denver. I'm going to shock the world with this one. I'm going to go with Andrew Luck. And the reason being is I see Peyton Manning declining right now, man. I don't know. It just doesn't look like it's the same team. They've been very inconsistent. I don't see them as a Super Bowl team. And I just believe in Andrew Luck, man. I mean, the guy just finds a way to get it done. He may not have a good running game, but hey, he's going to throw for 300 yards. He's going to be smart with the ball, And if you think about it, too, Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl last year. Nobody expected that. I don't know if Andrew Luck's going to go that far, but I'm not going to count him out right now. I'm going to ride this Andrew Luck train and see where it goes. If they get past the Broncos, then they have to play the Patriots. Man, it's going to be hard for me not to pick Andrew Luck after that. But that's my pick for that one. And you got Seattle going up to play the boys. Seattle playing the boys of Cam Newton. He's going up there to play against that tough defense and that tough 12-man crowd. Hey, tough chucking for him. I don't think they're going to get that victory. You got Marshawn Lynch, you got Beast Mode, you got Russell Wilson. They're going to defend home turf, and they're going to get past that round. Now, the last one, the Cowboys luckily got past the Lions, in my guesstimation. These guys let penalties fly all over the place. Referees are basically trying to hand them the game. Jerry Jones called up Roger Goodell, said, hey, make sure you take that penalty away. Don't call this penalty. Cowboys took out their victory. That's good for you. I'm glad that the Cowboys got a victory in the playoffs. Congratulations. It's only been, about 10, 12, 13 years. I don't know. 1992, last time y'all won a playoff game. Congratulations. I think you should celebrate the most that you can right now because you're going to play Green Bay and Lambeau Field, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. So Aaron Rodgers is going to roll past you guys. Sorry, Cowboys, you're going home. You'll be sitting home with the Steelers like me, watching the playoffs and watching the Super Bowl. That's all I got to say about that. But let's kick it back to you guys.
Thank you, Senor Davis. All right, back in the lounge, as promised, a fan favorite, special guest, the first guest in our new studio, Marvin.
Exactly.
Duron Carrington, welcome to the set, Duron.
First of all, gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for having me here today. I know it was a crazy victory that we pulled out. I look forward to discussing all things sports with you gentlemen today.
This victory he's talking about, for those who don't know, Duron over here, diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. Our residential co-host here, Marvin Banks, diehard Green Bay Packer fan. Divisional round coming up, we have Ice Bowl Part 2. The Cowboys take their 8-0 record up to Lambeau Field where the Pack are 8-0. Something's got to give. I mean, let's start with Duran as our guest. Thoughts on the game? What kind of matchups? Who has the upper hand when it comes to the matchup and the position players?
Thank you, Ty. I think the first thing that we need to look at for the game on Sunday is the running game. I mean, when you have to lead with the league's leading rusher at over 1,800 yards this year, that front, while it's a good front in Green Bay, does not pose the same threats that Detroit does at all with the run game. Mark Ingram rushed for 172 yards, which I do believe is a career high on a Sunday night. Fred Jackson rushed for 75. Reggie Bush had a sighting of 61 this year. Things that can help out a lot. I think that's a big matchup that we need to look at.
Good points, Grant. I do know for sure at least two of those matchups were on the road where the Packers are a different team. Marv, your X factors for the Pack.
Well, of course, when you talk about X factors, you have to go with your 2014 MVP Aaron Rodgers as your X factor. But
don't do this.
Everybody's saying that, yes, the X factor is maybe the wide receivers against the Cowboys secondary, but I'm going to have to piggyback off of what Duran said. It's definitely going to have to be the running game of Green Bay. When you can get Eddie Lacy going against that front seven of Dallas, I think they can pose a lot of problems and a lot of things to them. Eddie Lacy is having a real great year, another good back-to-back year, over 1,000 yards rushing back-to-back years for the Green Bay Packers. So I think that even though Dallas is the best offensive line in football, hands down, Green Bay still does have a top 10 offensive line. I still think they can impose their will amongst the Dallas front. So I think Green Bay offensive line.
All right. Now, he mentioned the O-line. He also mentioned the MVP debate, which we're not going to get into. Could you please, for a second, I mean, does Romo have any stake in this MVP debate? And if so, would you choose him over Aaron Rodgers?
I do feel that Tony Romo does have a stake in the MVP race. However, what we didn't touch on would be DeMarco overtaking both of those in the MVP race.
All right.
A man that rushed for 1,800 yards, a man that gives that offense balance so Tony isn't asked to do so much. When Tony's asked to do a lot more, he's prone to make more mistakes. And when he makes more mistakes, we are not a better team. DeMarco finally gave us the balance, I guess to say, of the glory years when we did win 5 Super Bowls, like Tony Dorsett's of the world, the Emmitt Smiths of the world, gave us that balance to win. So I would say that DeMarco over both of those is the MVP.
38-5.
So sick of this stat.
38 touchdowns to 5 picks. Even though Mr. Romo has a better QBR, Aaron Rodgers still threw for more yards. And he has more, I would say, more quality wins than what DeMarco or Tony Romo has. Even though they did go up to Seattle and beat Seattle, which is a very quality win. Have to give props to them. But the comeback win over Miami Dolphins, the win over Tom Brady, also the blowout fashions that he has been destroying teams at home, I would definitely see the edge go to Aaron Rodgers and the boys. So that's how come I would go with my MVP being Aaron Rodgers there moving forward.
Thanks. All right, let's cut to the chase. Duran,
Yes.
who wins this game? And who's the player that tips the scale?
Obviously, we're going to go where the bread is buttered at. We're going to go with Dallas, and we're going to go with that offensive line. Dallas wins 34-27. We control the rock. Time of possession. If you look at the losses that Green Bay has had, they've lost every game in time of possession. They've lost to backs like Marshawn Lynch. Okay, beast mode. He is beast mode. But Murray did rush for over 1,800 yards. That's what we're going at. It's going to be the battle up front. And you got to keep one more eye out for Clay Matthews, who's lined up inside. You've taken your best pass rusher, and you've now lined him up inside. How is that going to affect things?
All right, Marv, tell us who wins and why.
Well, that's easy how Clay Matthews can have a straight line straight to the quarterback. We've seen what Tony Romo did when he had a little pressure. He was falling like a cactus heat in the desert sun. So we're going to make sure that Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to win. I think Green Bay is going to win this game 31-21 because they have continued to jump ahead on teams. They have continued to dominate right in the first half, get on top of teams and making sure that, hey, we're going to alleviate this run game, but we're going to go out here, we're going to put the hammer on right away. 31-21, alleviate DeMarco Murray, and what Green Bay fans would love to see. Come on, Tony Romo. Come on, Tony Romo. Come up to Lambeau. Come on up to Lambeau.
I think
All right, let's transition from the division round and the pros to our first playoff round in the NCAA. Championship game is set. Oregon, Buckeyes. I mean, Marv, let's go right back to you. I mean, this is exciting. Let's dish on it.
I think with the new addition of the Final Four, something that the committee actually got right. And I'm glad that they got it right, but I'm still a little hesitant. I still would like to see TCU up there instead of Florida State, but I can't blame TCU for that. I have to blame the Big 12 for that, for not having a conference championship game. When you only have 11 teams in your conference that don't have a championship game, well, you did TCU a disservice. They went out there and blew out Ole Miss. It was over within the first 15 minutes of that game. So I think they would have posed a bigger threat to Oregon than what Florida State did this past weekend.
I mean, let's run with it. Do you think the committee got it right?
Absolutely, the committee got it right. I, like Marv, believe that I would have liked to see TCU there. However, it's hard when somebody wins 29 straight games to have them leapfrog. I think the committee did it wrong by having them at 3 and then having them be taken out of the equation altogether. I would have loved to see TCU against Oregon. Speed on speed, smaller guys, Big 12. But I'm going to blame TCU instead of blaming the Big 12 as a whole. TCU was up 21 points in the fourth quarter to Baylor and let them come back and beat them. That is their problem, not the committee's fault on that one.
But I have to disagree with you on that one for Duran, because when you look at all the losses, the Ohio State loss, the Oregon loss, and if you look at the TCU loss, I still think that the TCU loss is, quote unquote, the best loss out of all those teams right there. When Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech and when Oregon lost to Arizona, I believe that Baylor can still beat those other teams. So I would consider that a better loss. That's why, in essence, I would have them in there. And the committee should have had the courage. They should have had the fortitudinous, the Marvin's big word of the week. Dewan, I know you're new to the show. We always have a Marvin's big word of the week on here. So as that scrolls past, the fortitudinous to make sure that they could have put them in. They could have had the courageness to put them in, but they didn't have it. They didn't do it.
I agree with, if I may, I agree with everything that you just said. However, let's look at two things. I don't think Baylor is a great of opponent because Baylor lost again in the same fashion to a Michigan State team that lost to our two final teams in the championship. So we have to look at it from that perspective as well. And Baylor, once again, chokes up, has a big lead, lets Michigan State, of all teams, score 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Let's also touch on the fact that Michigan State's only losses this season were to Ohio State and Oregon. So very, very interesting. But enough about the teams that are out of it. Who do you have winning the championship?
You know what? This is a hard decision for me. I've been debating about this all day. DJ, I know you're going to be sending me text messages from Columbus. I want in my heart so bad to root against Ohio State because I can't stand the state of Ohio, but I'm going to go with the Big Ten. I'm going to say the Big Ten gets the victory, not Ohio State. The Big Ten gets the victory. I think they can outlast Oregon just for a little bit longer. I'm going to go with 38-35. Definitely a high-scoring game in this one.
Duran, Big Ten, Pac-12.
OHIO.
Okay.
They had enough courage. They said Urban Meyer didn't have the speed. They showed that they had the speed on Thursday night. The last time that Urban Meyer was an underdog in a national championship game, he started that SEC run. So I'm like Marv. It's going to be who outlasts who. I like 38-35.
All right. 2 up for Ohio State. Buckeyes, it's on you. Big Ten to our Big Ten captain. Steve, who do you have for the NCAA championship game?
Absolutely, fellas. It was a outstanding first round of that college football playoff. Man, if you really looked at it, you got Oregon trembling all over Florida State. I mean, who would have expected that? But the way that they just played, it made them look like they're a dominating team. They have really kind of come full force at the end of the season. You know, you kind of expected it a little bit because you see Oregon put up these points against people all the time, and then in the big games they seem to fall off. But in this big game, they came to play. You know, and Jameis Winston, I'm sorry, but he did not come to play. I mean, it was fumbles and people dropping balls, and Jameis Winston falling on bananas. I don't know. It was crazy out there. It just was anything that was going bad could have went bad, and it did go bad for them. I mean, I felt bad for them, but hey, Oregon's going on to the next round. Then you got Ohio State, the Big Ten, finally making a statement in the college football playoffs, getting past Alabama. Man, I'm so proud of that. Big Ten are making a statement. Ohio State and Urban Meyer, man, you can't never count out Urban Meyer. That guy is a great coach. I mean, you look at what he has done with this team, down to their third-string quarterback, and they're playing even better than they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, think about that. This coach is really having his players prepared to go out there and play. And for them to make it to the national stage like they have this year, it's outstanding. Now, we're in a national championship game, though, and it's hard for me to pick, but I like the Big Ten. But I'm looking at Oregon and the way that they just dominated Florida State. And I have to pick Oregon. I'm sorry, Big Ten. I'm sorry, Ohio State. I mean, you made a good run. Nobody expected you to beat Alabama. You did. You got us the respect that we needed. I don't think you're going to take that next step against Oregon just because you're going to have to score a lot of points. I mean, Oregon is going to be all over the field. Marcus Mariota is no joke. This guy is the real deal. He's going to give that defense some fits. I mean, it's not to say that Ohio State's not going to do the same thing, but in my guesstimation, it's still going to be a high-scoring type of affair. But Oregon's going to pull it off on top, maybe by 7, 14 points, 2 touchdowns, something like that. Don't know what the final score may be, but I believe it's going to be around 40 points or something like that above. So I'm going with the Ducks for this championship. They're if you really look at it, they're like the future of football, college football, just the way their style of play. The NFL's kind of taking their style of play. Everybody likes their jerseys. It's time for Oregon to make a statement and win a national championship, and I believe this is their year. Let's go back to you guys.
All right, now let's take this time to talk about a topic that's near and dear to all three of our hearts. As you can see, the black and gold is in full effect tonight as we mourn for our brother. Stuart Scott passed away at the age of 49 last Sunday after his long fight with cancer. Marvin, your thoughts on Bro Scott, or Duran, sorry, passing on to Omega Chapter?
Stuart Scott was one of my favorite announcers. He's who got me into sports and got me into Sports Center. Whether it was him and Rich Eisen, him and Scott Van Pelt, he brought basically our ethnicity, our flavor, our flair to sports and let it be okay for us to be who we are on the sports field. And he gave us a voice. He really did give us a voice out there in a time where it's predominantly, white males. And I don't think there's going to be anybody else that can do what he did or duplicate it. So, rest in peace in Omega Chapter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When I had to sit down and think about what Stuart Scott meant, it's interesting to see the impact that he had, not just amongst sports, but amongst everybody. When I was reading my timeline and actors, the President of the United States, North Carolina, was paying their respects to a man that trailblazed. I remember a funny story where he was talking to Rich Eisen, and he had made a Seinfeld reference, and he had told him, and black people don't watch Seinfeld, which is the truth, because we didn't, but it was somebody that we can look to on TV and say, man, he's saying the same things that we're saying right now, and I can be that person that is like that. And with him passing on to Omega Chapter, you think about what he stood for. First of all, the first person really trailblazed within sports broadcasts and different things of that nature. Service of all. He was always a person, from reading the reports and listening to people, that was always willing to give out his time, give out advice to different things of that nature, and spend time with people. Trendsetter. We shall transcend all. There's nothing more that you can say about Stuart Scott that's not a trendsetter, that transcended sports talk forever. Now you have people using his lyrics, booyah, cooler than the other side of the pillow.
My favorite.
Yep. Different things of that nature, and it's just sad to see him go.
Yeah.
Sad to see him go.
Absolutely, huge loss. I mean, I know me personally, especially in my quest to find alpha. They say who are some prominent members that you know of. Obviously, Dr. Martin Luther King is thrown out there. Someone I threw out knowing that journalism was something I was passionate about. Stuart Scott. When I finally got cable, I would watch him and I would think to myself, like, oh my God, this man's doing exactly what I want to do. He looks just like me. He's in the fraternity that I have aspirations to be a part of. And I keep thinking to myself, man, I can't wait to meet him someday. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen, and it hurts my soul. But I mean, first of all, thank you. And you talk about what else can be said. I mean, we've heard the testimonies. There's not much negative you can say about this man. He was just good all around, a great father. I remember I tweeted him once. I woke up the next morning. He had responded. I hit him with the 1119. He hit me back with the 06. Always repping the frat. Just a great brand man. And again, remember that speech at the ESPYs. I mean, who didn't really feel that? And so, absolutely. It's unfortunate that, as we said 3 weeks ago, we won't be able to meet Stuart Scott. But man, the legacy he leaves behind cannot be touched.
It'll be nobody else like him.
No.
And he's one of a kind. He's definitely there's nobody that can fill a void like that.
No.
It's such a big void that Sports Center is not going to be the same. The fun atmosphere that was brought to it's not going to be the same moving forward.
Just like Scott Van Pelt said, I mean, in working with you gentlemen, it's the same way. You throw it up, somebody's going to catch it and put it down for you. And Scott Van Pelt put it at the best. He was like, I throw it up, and I always knew Stuart would dunk it for me and put it in. So, that's my thoughts.
Moments of silence before an NFL game, moments of silence before an NBA game. Not only do the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated mourn for you, all of UNC mourns for you, the nation mourns for you. Stuart Scott, we're going to miss you, but thank you so much for everything that you've given us. Rest in peace, bro. 06.
06.
06.